Good morning, Twin Cities. I'm Adam. I'm Jack Tomczak. That's Andrew Lee.
Spring forward, everybody. Spring forward. Happy Daylight Savings Time Monday day. Thanks for joining us.
Producing this fine show, as usual, is Lump.
Good morning.
Up in Minnesota.
On the show today at 7 o'clock, we'll be talking about Black Lives Matter stopping freedom in Chicago. At 8 o'clock, State Senator Michelle Fischbach will be joining us to talk about how the government likes fish more than they like you drinking beer.
Oh, I love fish.
The bizarre priorities of government.
But it's fish.
If you had to choose fish or beer,
I choose fish.
I'd choose beer.
I choose fish.
I would choose beer.
Yeah.
Because
you don't like fish.
Well, not a big fan. Not a big fan.
But
We'll
fish.
also, in the 8 o'clock hour, talk about Hillary Clinton is actually a very, very bad politician. And she should probably not be running for anything. Ever.
I was talking to a couple people over the weekend, liberal-leaning friends of mine, and even they agreed that in a rational, normal political world, Hillary Clinton wouldn't be anywhere near the presidency. Based upon her track record, based upon all the baggage she has, based upon how uncharismatic she is as a person, she just isn't the type of person or politician that in the past would have really had a real legitimate chance at the presidency.
Well, depending on how far back you go, 50, 40 years? Absolutely. They didn't let him run for things.
Well, that's
at all.
But
vote.
I think it's telling that in a year where the GOP should almost have a cakewalk to the presidency based upon who the Democrats are running, that it's not. Yeah. It's a struggle. It's going to be a very close election.
Everybody knows who Kim Kardashian is, correct? Anybody not?
Who?
Show of hands. Who doesn't know? Okay. She's famous for no reason, but she continues to be famous, and she continues to make money. No talent, good-looking lady, but I think a very hard worker. Hillary Clinton has got to be the most dedicated, hardest-working politician this country's ever seen. Because as far as everything else that a politician needs, she doesn't have it. So she has to work twice as hard because she's not at all interesting, entertaining, engaging, and doesn't care about people. Right. Those things. And we'll get into it in the 8 o'clock hour, is completely unaware of the things that come out of her mouth or her own history, the history of this country, or anything beyond, I think, 6 to 8 inches from her head.
People get on Donald Trump all the time, and rightfully so, for saying whatever needs to be said in that moment, depending on the audience, depending on who he's talking to, just kind of wanting to win the moment.
He wins the moment.
Regardless, and consistency is secondary to winning the moment. You say the exact same thing about Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That's her entire political career.
Yeah, she'll just say whatever to get out of or win that situation, and then deal with it later.
Right. She'll go along with public opinion, and once public opinion changes, she'll go along with that. And it's amazing that, her supporters, they give her credit. When that happens, she evolved. She's evolved. She's not inconsistent. She's just constantly evolving.
She's evolving closer to the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
She'll get there eventually.
So how was everybody's weekend? Anything exciting?
I had a really great weekend. You guys know I do the Minnesota Beer Cast, the podcast that on the Twin Cities News Talk Facebook or on the website.
Go to TwinCitiesNewsTalk.com to find that.
And through the Beer Cast, we were invited to a beer dinner on Friday night.
Okay.
It's something that some beer distributors will do where they'll partner with a restaurant, a chef, and they'll create a menu based around a certain brand of beer, and they'll put out the different styles, and it's food and beer pairings. Everybody talks about food and wine pairings. This is the best wine with this meal.
That's really cool.
Well, it's starting to food and beer pairings are starting to get more popular because there's so many different styles of beers, and they all have different flavors. And it's, chefs are starting to think about what flavors would go well with this style of beer.
This is why when I did drink, I stuck with Miller Lite, because it really works with everything. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
So Friday night, the Beer Cast, me and my co-host Schmitty, were invited to the Rival House in St. Paul for a Oscar Blues, which is a Colorado beer. Oscar Blues beer dinner, and it was one of the most amazing meals I've ever had. It was just a 5-course meal, every dish, paired with a certain type of beer, and the food was outstanding. Just outstanding. Rainbow trout, pork belly tacos.
More with the fish.
Lamb, one of the best pieces of lamb I've ever had in my life. It was just a really great.
What was dessert?
Dessert
was dessert
was-
also a beer-centric thing?
They were beer floats.
Okay.
2 different types of beer, very strong, dark, stout beers with the kind of coffee flavorings.
Okay.
And then a scoop of vanilla ice cream in the beer.
Ice cream and beer.
Like a beer float.
It worked?
Great. So good.
Huh.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Huh.
And then Saturday night, also in conjunction with the beer cast,
Also had something to do with the beer.
there was a beer festival in the Minnesota History Center in St. Paul.
Okay.
It was called the Northern Lights Rare Beer Fest.
You get your own drunk history?
And the premise of it is all these breweries come out and they bring rare beer you can't get in stores, beer that you can't get in restaurants, beer that maybe they released like a special edition beer back in 2013
This
and
is
they held back
Schlitz.
a few kegs. So it's really unique, very hard to find beers, some beers specifically for that event. Like you're not going to be able to get them anywhere else. And there was probably about 30 breweries there.
Cool.
All set up, and we recorded a couple of shows worth of content there as well, interviewing some of the brewers. And that's a really nice event. It's, you think Beer Fest, you think, out in the field somewhere in the summer in St. Paul, and those are cool, and you have those. But this is a little more elegant. It's inside the Minnesota History Center, which is a very nice venue to hold an event like this. Sure. They've got like live jazz music, great food, really nice event. So
Cool.
it was a fun weekend. A lot of great food, a lot of great beer.
We'll be talking beer again at 8 with State Senator Michelle Fischbach when we talk about the Cold Spring Brewery having an issue with getting water to turn into beer because the government values trout more than your taste buds.
I love fish.
Fish is gross. On Saturday, I went to make sure I get this right, St. David's Make Them Shine Gala. St. David's is a facility that helps...
Gala.
It's Gala.
Gala.
It's St. David Center Child and Family Development. They help out a lot of young kids who have problems, challenges, issues, things like that. And what they do is the gal from Care 11, whose name is unpronounceable,
Rena
Stegosaurus. That's exact. Yiannopoulos.
How do you
Yes.
spell that?
SFX.
She was protested at Rutgers and then immediately came here to do the news. And it's a really cool event where they raise money for this St. David Center. And their shtick is they show you videos of the kids and families that they've helped and then take your money while you're weeping. And it works.
Did it work?
Yes.
Did it take all your money?
A lot of it. But that's what I did Saturday night. It was a very cool thing. And it's always helpful if you've got, as I do, young kids that you complain about constantly. A good reminder that your life's a piece of cake. So I got that. I get that once a year. The Stop Complaining Gala.
Gala.
It's Gala. All right, Boss Man, what's at the top of the news bag?
We've got a Minnesota legislator pondering nonpartisan ballots. I'm curious what you think of that. And another longtime Minnesota legislator passed away over the weekend, so we'll get into that as well.
All that and more when we return.